I am my happiest when I'm busy. Otherwise, it gets really depressing. Do you relate to that? Is that something that you've thought recently or in the past? It certainly was for me. It's like these feelings come over you, like the nagging doubts or the depression and so on, and you have no way of controlling them. You can't do anything about them. How do you cope? What do you do? Well, one of the things that we do is keep busy, keep our mind occupied. So in this video, I want to give you some help as to why this is the case, why we do it, and what can you do not to do it. How can you help yourself so you stop having the need to be busy? Because I don't know about you, if I'm ever trying to keep busy, then I get exhausted. And that's the thing, isn't it? Having this feeling of depression is one thing, but keeping busy to try and avoid it is another, because it is so draining, so exhausting. And how do we break that cycle? I think that's what I discovered, is that I couldn't go on like it. I needed to be able to stop this and break this vicious cycle. So let's keep in mind what we want to achieve. Is it peace? Is it an understanding of these emotions? Is it stopping the thoughts come and go? Any of those could be something that you want. But again, as we go through this video, you decide. If you've had this experience, as I say, like I did, then what was it that you wanted most? Was it peace? Was it this understanding? Or was it better ways to avoid these feelings? Whatever it is for you. So, what does this feel like? Well, as I've described, when these, as I call them, these heavy emotions like depression come about, it's almost as if you're laden, that you cannot move, that you feel stuck, and you lose interest, you lose motivation. And what we're trying to do here is break out of that, aren't we? We're trying to avoid feeling so low, feeling so depressed, because we're carrying problems. We have worries, we have concerns, and it's very likely that you're thinking to yourself, I'm never going to get out of this, or I'm just so sick to death of feeling depressed, or things that trigger that depression and seem to stay there, seem to stay stuck. There might be that feeling of powerlessness, like I can never see myself getting better. It's just so hopeless. And that thought is going to make it worse, isn't it? As it did for me, because it's almost like you're piling on the negativity. You are making it worse, because of what's really happening is that you're building layer upon layer of reasons why you're depressed. And as we know, we need hope. We crave for hope. But if we're not getting that, then the depression increases, then the negative feelings increase. There might be something that you are carrying, as I did, like I would be, when I was really depressed when I was young, I would be thinking what happened in the past, what my father said, and I'd be going over and over it. And that was depressing in itself, because there was conflict, there was hurt, there was pain. So as we keep repeating and reminding ourselves of what had happened, I found that I was getting more and more depressed because I couldn't shake it off. There was nothing that I could do to wipe that past clean. So what was I doing? Keeping busy, trying to keep my mind occupied. I didn't want these thoughts coming back. I didn't want these memories coming back. And I don't know about you, but I used to get into the detail of why did he say that? Or why did I do that? Or was I bad? So you're constantly regurgitating all this stuff in the past, which is building the depression. And then the only strategy or the only way out of it is avoiding it or keeping busy. And of course, the other thing is that feeling of this is hopeless, this is never going to work, I'm never going to get out of this, as I say, is making it worse, is adding more pressure. And as I said in other videos, I really believe that the experience of an emotion is one thing, but when the mind starts to become agitated and throw these thoughts at you, that makes it worse. That adds more pressure, as I say, because there doesn't seem to be any way out. There's no escape. And you get trapped, you get confused, and you want to give up. So what is the real conflict here? Why is it we're stuck? What is keeping you from moving on? Or what is keeping you from feeling better or feeling at peace? Well, there'll be a part of your mind that's saying, I don't want to feel like this. Life should be easier. I cannot face these feelings. I don't like being here. I want to feel something different. Or you might be saying to yourself, I wish they hadn't said that. They shouldn't have said that. Do you see what's happening? Is that you're going over and repeating, and you're saying to yourself, I want to be something different. I want to be having a different experience. So in other words, you're fighting. You're fighting with how you're feeling. Now, that may sound a little bizarre, but this is the problem. Because when we fight with what we're feeling, what happens? We add more pressure. That is the conflict. Because you're trying to solve the depression. You're trying to move past the depression. And what you're doing is fighting with the feelings, fighting with the thoughts. I cannot face it. I cannot cope. I should be dealing with it. I should be able to overcome this. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish they hadn't. Do you see what I'm saying? It's that continuous dialogue, if you want, that is the conflict that you're having. Because you're fighting it. You're fighting the depression. And you're fighting it by having these thoughts. And secondly, by trying to avoid them, by keeping busy, by trying to take your mind off it. But those thoughts are still there, the feelings will still be there. And as I say, that's the vicious cycle, because you'll be exhausted. And I was drained out, day in and day out, having to avoid these feelings or try to interrupt these thoughts was killing me. So, do you have a choice? Is there something that you can do? Well, of course, one choice is you carry on. You carry on doing this, and in the hope that things get better, things improve. That didn't happen for me because, as I've said, I realized that until I understood why this was happening, then I would just be letting fear control me. The fear of what these feelings were. The fear of facing things that had happened. And yeah, it is uncomfortable because we don't like it. We don't want to do that. We don't want to have to face things that we've had happen in the past. But sometimes it's one of the only ways that we can heal it, that we can move beyond it. So what I started to do was accept that these feelings came, accept that the thoughts were coming, this negativity was there. And I stopped trying to change it. I stopped trying to avoid things rather than see things, rather than accept things. And it's okay. I found it was okay to acknowledge this is how I was. And then I started to examine a bit further. You know, what are these feelings telling me? What was it that I was avoiding? Why did I want to control things? Could I control things? Should things have happened this way? Well, they did. I can't change that. What should I be able to do? Well, that's an expectation. So it might be just acknowledge that these feelings are there. I suggest you write things down or try and find some way of expressing what's actually happening. Because here's the thing, this is really what we're saying, isn't it? That if you carry on avoiding and trying to distract yourself, then ultimately you'll still be having the same feelings. You'll still be having the same thoughts. They'll all be there because they're being generated unconsciously. However, by doing something to acknowledge them, by doing something that can help you express them and acknowledge them, then things start to get easier and you start to overcome the fear that you have about them. So be gentle on yourself, and it's okay. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Take care. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this and want to learn more about emotions and overcoming problems, consider subscribing. If you relate and want to share or leave a comment, that would be great, and that would reach other people and inspire them. And also, the quickest and easiest way for you to get help is to message me or email me. I look at all of my messages daily, and I'll get back to you very, very soon. Thanks for watching.